Berry Gordy started Motown in 1959 with an $800 loan from his family. He sold it in 1988 for $61 million. And the artists who created every dollar of that value, the voices, the songs, the sound that changed the world, most of them never knew how much they were really losing until it was already gone. Number 10, the Funk Brothers. Here's something that should stop you cold. You have heard their playing. You don't know their names.
I'll talk to you later, all right? Frankie, don't hang up. Don't hang up, Frankie.
The Funk Brothers were the house band at Motown from 1959 to 1972. Bassist James Jamerson, drummer Benny Benjamin, pianist Joe Hunter. They played on every significant Motown record made in Detroit. More number one singles than the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Beach Boys, and Elvis Presley combined. Over 100 chart toppers in 13 years, Motown never once credited them on an album. They were paid roughly $10 per song at the session. That's it. No royalties, no publishing. Not even their names in small print. While My Girl was climbing the charts, while I Heard It Through the Grapevine was breaking records, the men who physically created those sounds were invisible.
What do you mean something funky going down? I'm over here working.
Gordy kept them that way deliberately. He didn't want artists asking why the band wasn't on the albums, kept it clean, kept it controlled. And here's what gets me. In 1983, Motown threw a massive television special for its 25th anniversary. Smokey, Diana, The Temptations, everybody was there. James Jamerson, the man whose bass line is the literal heartbeat of that entire era, found out he hadn't been invited. He had to scalp a ticket to sit in the balcony and watch. Then in 1972, when Gordy moved the whole operation to Los Angeles, the Funk Brothers showed up to Studio A one morning and found a note on the door. Session canceled. We'll reschedule. They never did.
Like that, man. Oh, man. Listen, huh?
The men who built the Motown sound learned about the move the same way you find out your lease isn't being renewed. By the time the 2002 documentary Standing in the Shadows of Motown finally told their story, 43 members of the Funk Brothers had already died.
What'd you say? It's true, home. It's true. Funky. Oh, Frankie, don't tell me my lady.
If you've ever loved a Motown song, and I mean really loved it, you've loved the Funk Brothers. You just weren't told. Number 9, Martha Reeves. She didn't come to Motown to be a secretary. She came to sing. But when she showed up for her audition on the wrong day of the week, A&R director Mickey Stevenson told her he was busy. He handed her a phone and walked away. Martha Reeves answered it, then kept answering it for months. She handled Motown's auditions, she managed the schedules, she processed payroll for the Funk Brothers, the same musicians she'd later be recording over, working at first without any pay at all, just to keep her foot in the building. Her break came the way most second chances do, unexpectedly. Mary Wells didn't show up for a session. Someone needed a voice on the mic fast. Martha grabbed it. Berry Gordy heard the tape and offered her a contract. And here's the detail I want you to sit with. One of Martha's final acts as Motown's A&R secretary was to type up her own recording contract. She sat down at that desk and typed the document that would make her career. Then came Heat Wave, Dancing in the Street, Nowhere to Run, 6 top 10 Billboard hits. But somewhere in the accounting, things got murky, and Martha Reeves was the kind of person who noticed. I think I was the first person at Motown to ask where the money was going. She said years later, "Did I find out? Honey, I found my way out the door." When Motown moved to Los Angeles in 1972 and let her contract run out, she started asking harder questions. In 1989, she filed a lawsuit for royalties that hadn't been paid since 1972, 17 years of missing money. It took 2 years and a personal apology from Gordy himself to settle. The amount was never made public. She typed her own contract, spent decades trying to collect on it. Real talk, only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. Number 8, Mary Wells. In May 1964, Mary Wells knocked the Beatles out of the Billboard Top 10. My Guy went to number 1 on the pop chart, Motown's first female solo artist to hit that peak. She was 21 years old, and she was furious because the royalties from My Guy weren't going to her. Gordy was rooting that money into breaking a new group, one called the Supremes, who had just put out Where Did Our Love Go? Mary had signed her Motown contract at 17 years old. The law gave her an option on her 21st birthday. A minor can void a contract signed before adulthood. She took it. The case went to court. She won. But here's what winning cost her. To get her freedom from Motown, she had to sign away every single future royalty on every song she'd ever recorded there. My Guy. 2 lovers. You beat me to the punch. Every compilation, every film license, every time My Guy would play in a movie, a commercial, a department store, for the rest of time, she would receive nothing. In exchange for a one-time payment of $30,000, she signed with 20th Century Fox for $200,000. She never had another top 20 pop hit. The production machine, the songwriters, the promotional muscle, all of it stayed at Motown without her. In 1991, she sued Motown again for unpaid royalties going back to 1964. She was dying of throat cancer so advanced, she was whispering her congressional testimony about cancer research funding, spending what was left of her voice, fighting to be heard one more time. The settlement, a 6-figure sum. She died in July 1992. The royalties from My Guy kept flowing. Just not to Mary Wells. Number 7, Holland-Dozier-Holland. Between 1963 and 1967, 3 men wrote and produced 25 number 1 singles. Let me say that again. 25. Stop! In the name of love. Reach out, I'll be there. Baby love. How sweet it is. I can't help myself. Heat wave. The entire architecture of what the world calls the Motown sound. Brian Holland, Lamont Dozier, and Eddie Holland built it, song by song, hit after hit, year after year. And in 1967, they realized they had never been paid what they were owed for any of it. They staged a work slowdown. Gordy didn't budge. They walked out and filed suit, claiming withheld royalties and worse. Motown countersued for breach of contract. What followed was one of the longest legal battles in music industry history. Nearly a decade, settled in 1977. But stay with me on this one because this is the detail that still gets under my skin. While that lawsuit was active, Holland-Dozier-Holland were still under Motown's publishing contracts, which meant they couldn't use their own names on their own songs. They kept writing. They started their own labels, Invictus and Hot Wax, and kept producing hits. But legally, those songs couldn't be credited to them. Every song they wrote had to be published under a fake name. Editha Wayne. That was their pseudonym. Band of Gold by Freda Payne. Number 3 on the pop chart in 1970, one of the great R&B records of that era. Written by Holland-Dozier-Holland. You won't find their names on it. The men who wrote the soundtrack of a generation couldn't sign their own names to their own work.
Just look over your shoulder.
Not while Gordy's lawyers held the rights. And whether that was justice or just business, well, I'll let you decide. Number 6, the Jackson 5. By 1975, the Jackson 5 had sold more than 60 million records. 4 consecutive number 1 singles right out of the gate. A cartoon, TV specials, memorabilia that kids were buying all over the world. They were Motown's biggest act since the Supremes. Their royalty rate, 2.7%. When Joe Jackson discovered that CBS Records was willing to offer 20%, nearly 10 times what Motown was paying, he started negotiating. The family was leaving. Motown filed a breach of contract lawsuit, and then came the thing nobody in that family expected. Motown revealed they owned the name. The Jackson 5, the name those boys had used their whole career since they were performing in Gary, Indiana, as little kids, was Motown's legal property. To record for another label, they had to change their name. They became the Jacksons. And Jermaine didn't go with them. He had married Berry Gordy's daughter, Hazel, in 1973. He stayed at Motown. His brothers had to walk out without him. A family separated at a boardroom table because of a contract. Think about that for a second. Not a falling out, not creative differences. A contract split them apart. Michael Jackson later filed his own lawsuit against Motown, claiming the label had licensed his recordings commercially for years and never produced a single accounting, let alone a payment, not $1. The boy who left Motown at 14 went on to become the best-selling solo artist in recorded history. And it wasn't in spite of leaving, it was because of it. If you're nodding right now, you already know exactly what kind of business we're talking about. Number 5, Marvin Gaye.
You know we've got to find a way.
In 1971, Marvin Gaye finished recording What's Going On and brought it to Berry Gordy.
You know we've got to find a way.
Gordy reportedly told him it was the worst record he'd ever heard. He refused to put it out. Gaye's response, "Release it or I will never record for you again." Gordy put it out. It sold 1 million copies in the first month. It became Motown's best-selling album to that point. It's still considered one of the greatest records ever made. But the fight for What's Going On was almost a footnote compared to what Motown's financial structure was quietly doing to Marvin Gaye's life. He was married to Berry Gordy's sister Anna from 1963 to 1977. When they divorced, the settlement required him to fund part of the payment using the royalties from his next album. Not past albums, his next album. Whatever he recorded after the divorce, that money went to Anna. Marvin Gaye made an album about the collapse of his marriage and was contractually required to give the profits to the person the marriage collapsed with. That album was Here, My Dear, released in 1978, a double record of raw, unfiltered honesty about their relationship. He knew, note by note, where every dollar was going. He left the country, Hawaii, then Belgium, spent years recording and living abroad to escape IRS debts and creditors that had accumulated while his income was structured in ways that kept him perpetually short. Sexual Healing, his 1982 comeback, was recorded in Holland, Belgium. He came home in 1983. He died in 1984. The residual value of What's Going On over the decades that followed, Marvin Gaye never saw it. Number 4, Stevie Wonder. He signed with Motown at 11 years old. Let me just let that sit. 11. His mother signed on his behalf. His royalties, everything he earned, went into a trust fund that Motown controlled entirely. His weekly allowance during that time, $2.50. That was his income week to week while his records were climbing the charts. The night before his 21st birthday in 1971, Berry Gordy threw him a birthday celebration at his Boston Boulevard mansion. They laughed, they celebrated, they were family. The next morning, Gordy arrived at his office to find a letter from a lawyer he'd never heard of. Every contract Stevie Wonder had ever signed with Motown was void, effective the moment he turned 21. Gordy was stunned. They'd been at a party together 12 hours before. Wonder's trust fund, where 10 years of earnings had been held, he had reason to expect approximately $3.5 million. The actual number waiting for him, 100,000. He walked out. He told Motown he wanted 20% royalties, full creative control in his own publishing company. Gordy said no. Wonder didn't record a single note. He went to New York, found a synthesizer, and started making the music that had been building inside him for years, the music he had never been allowed to make under Motown's terms. Motown eventually gave him everything he asked for. What came next? Talking Book Intervisions, Fulfilling This First Finale, Songs in the Key of Life, the greatest sustained creative run of the 1970s by any measure.
Do all that you can.
All of it was locked inside a man receiving $2.50 a week until the day he said enough. Number 3, Florence Ballard. Florence Ballard named the Supremes. That was her group. She recruited Mary Wilson. She brought in the girl from the neighborhood, Diane Ross. She was 16 years old when she pulled that group together, and she is the one who chose that name. She sang on 9 #1 records. Where Did Our Love Go? Baby Love. Stop, In the Name of Love. You Keep Me Hanging On. 9 times that group went to the top of the chart with Florence Ballard's voice holding the harmony in place. In 1967, Gordy let her go. Her attorney negotiated one payment from Motown, $139,804.94, and buried in that settlement a clause. She was legally prohibited from telling anyone she had ever been a member of the Supremes. The woman who named the group, banned from saying the name. In 1971, she sued Motown for $8.7 million in unpaid royalties. She lost. Her house went into foreclosure. She moved into her sister Maxine's home with her 3 daughters. By 1974, the newspapers had the story. Florence Ballard, founding member of Motown's most successful group, the woman who gave that group its name, was on welfare. She was 31 years old. She started to recover in 1975. A settlement from a separate legal matter gave her enough for a small home. She and her husband reconciled. She was planning a comeback, booking television interviews, talking about singing again. On February 22nd, 1976, she entered the hospital complaining of numbness in her extremities. She died the next morning of cardiac arrest, 32 years old. Her twin daughters were 7, her youngest was 4. And if you've ever watched someone give everything they had and get almost nothing back, you know what that silence feels like. Number 2, The Contract. Everything you've heard tonight connects to one thing, and I want to name it clearly because it wasn't bad luck. It wasn't just individual mistakes. There was a structure, and it was designed. Motown kept its artists on weekly allowances, many of them receiving $50 a week, regardless of how many records they were selling. While those records were selling. All of it. Travel expenses, recording sessions, stage clothing, charm school tuition, choreography lessons, all of it was charged against future royalties before the artist ever saw a check. Money don't get everything, it's true. Which meant most of them were thousands of dollars in debt to the label before their first royalty statement arrived. And that royalty rate, 2.7% of wholesale price, not retail. Motown published the songs through its own company, Jobeta. Motown managed the artists, Motown booked the tours, ran the charm school, controlled the quality review, determined what got released. Your love give me such a... Every single step in the process moved money through Gordy's companies. In 1995, Gordy gave an interview and addressed the criticism directly. to exploit is not necessarily bad, he said. I did try to control almost everything. And the artists, most of them young, most of them from the Brewster Projects and neighborhoods like it, almost none of them with lawyers, they signed whatever was put in front of them. Because they wanted to sing, because the music was all they had, because a hit record looked like a way out. For Berry Gordy, it was. Number one, $61 million. In 1988, Berry Gordy sold Motown Records to MCA and Boston Ventures. The price, $61 million. He started with an $800 family loan in 1959. What he sold in 1988 was built entirely by the people you just heard about tonight. The Funk Brothers, who played the music for $10 a session without a name on a single record. Martha Reeves, who typed her own contract as a secretary and spent decades fighting for what it promised her. Mary Wells, who signed away 30 years of royalties at 21 years old. Holland-Dozier-Holland, who couldn't use their own names on their own songs. The Jackson 5, who lost their own name when they tried to leave. Marvin Gaye, who recorded a double album knowing the money went to his ex-wife. Stevie Wonder, who was earning $250 a week while his records were going gold. Florence Ballard, who died at 32 and was legally forbidden from saying she helped build what was sold. Not one of those artists received a dollar from that $61 million. They built the empire. They built it with their voices and their talent and their youth. And when the empire was sold, the sale had one beneficiary. Here's what I keep thinking about. James Jamerson had to scalp a ticket to his own legacy. Florence Ballard died without being allowed to say her own name. Mary Wells spent her last years whispering in a congressional hearing room. And Berry Gordy in 1995 called it exploitation and said that wasn't necessarily bad. Nobody told them. Or maybe somebody did and hoped they wouldn't believe it.